This month, we are going to review the different options that we offer when it comes to how your employees can interact with open shifts. So there are three options here. The first one being shift bid, where employees can log on to the schedule and submit a bid request to work an open shift. An administrator would then need to access the My Bids report in order to accept or reject those requests. The second option is a direct sign-on method where employees can directly sign on to a shift without an administrator's approval. And then lastly, the third option is a mix between the two. So employees can directly sign on to a shift or add themselves to a shift without an administrator's approval until they hit a weekly hours limit that we set for you on the back end. Once an employee hits that limit or threshold, the program will automatically require the employee to submit a bid request. So today we're going to walk through an example of each option that we offer, as well as touch on some additional settings at the end. So in our demo site here, I've logged in as a basic user. This site is configured to allow for shift bids. So as George Banks, I can log on to my schedule. I can click on the available open shifts. And in this screen here, depending on the time options that you offer your employees, George may be able to adjust the time of the shift that he'd like to work. George can also submit bid comments to his supervisors. And then go ahead and click bid. And the employee should receive confirmation that their bid request was successfully submitted. Employees can also access their own My Bids report under the schedule menu to look at any pending requests that they've submitted, as well as look back on any previously accepted, rejected, or even canceled requests. So as an administrator, I can access that My Bids report to review, accept, or reject George's bid request. So I've logged on as an administrator in this same demo site here, and I am now looking at George's bid request. So under the action column is where I'll have my options to accept or reject this request. Administrators also can find several resources in their My Bid report, such as the start date. You would see the employee start date if that is filled out in their user profile. If you accept bids based on seniority, this may be a column that you reference. We display the bid date if you approve bid requests based on a first come, first serve basis. And then we also offer the number of hours per week column if you award bids based on who has the least number of hours for a particular week. Administrators or schedulers can also leave the employee comments. So whether you choose to accept or reject a bid request, once you hit go, the employee will be notified and those comments will be sent right along with that notification. All right, so we're going to go ahead and accept George's bid request just by hitting go. We'll receive confirmation up here at the top, and then we can also open up the schedule to confirm that George was added on Sunday, the 15th. We've now updated the settings on our demo site to allow for direct sign-on, and I have logged in as a new user, Wendy Bell. So we're going to walk through what it would look like for your employees to be able to sign on to a shift directly without an administrator's approval. So Wendy can log on to the schedule. She can see those open shifts that she is cleared to work, and she can click on the shift she'd like to add herself to or sign on to. Again, depending on the time options that you offer, Wendy may be able to adjust the time here. And instead of seeing bid, Wendy will just see sign on. So we'll click sign on, and we've added ourselves to the schedule successfully. So Wendy could go through and follow the same process for additional shifts. We are now going to review that third and final option, which is the hybrid method, where employees can sign on to a shift directly until they hit a certain limit. So we have set that limit and configured this site to allow for hybrid bidding. and I've logged in as a new employee, Michael Bennett. So following the same process, Michael can log on to the schedule and view those open shifts that he is eligible to work. So we're going to click on Thursday the 2nd here, where Michael will see the option to sign on to this shift. So we'll go ahead and add ourselves to the schedule. Michael can do that again on Friday. We'll go ahead and sign on to this shift here. And then we're going to look at Sunday the 5th and attempt to sign on to this shift. So this is where that threshold or that weekly hours limit comes into play. The employee is going to be notified that they have hit that limit, which in this case is 48 hours in 1 week. So Michael is now going to be forced to bid for this shift instead of sign on directly. So again, Michael could leave bid comments for his administrator or scheduler if he'd like to, and then go ahead and bid for that shift. Right? So you should receive confirmation up at the top that that bid request was submitted successfully. And again, Michael could go look at his My Bid report to review that pending bid request. In addition to those 3 options that we offer, when it comes to how employees interact with those open shifts, we also have some additional settings that we could talk through together. One of those being how far in advance employees can bid for or sign on to shifts. So we can set a limit there based on a specific number of days or number of months. That weekly hours limit setting that we referenced today can also be set up and applied to different groups of employees. So we can set a different limit for volunteers, part-time employees, per diem employees, and full-time employees. We can also control how many days before a shift is scheduled that an employee can actually sign off of that shift. And lastly, we can set up notifications to be sent out anytime an employee signs on or signs off of a shift, and we can control how many days in advance that notification would be triggered or sent out. So if you all have any questions about the options or the settings that we reviewed today, or if we mentioned something that you'd like to try out, please reach out to support. We would love to help you out or get that set up for you.